Hi everyone, I'm Pocket Full of Posies, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the second part of my summer custom series with Red's rival Blue. His design is pretty simple, so hopefully this should go smoothly. For this project, I'm going to use a Monster High Deuce Gorgon body and this DC superhero girl's head. Blue doesn't have a super manly face, so these DC heads work well for that anime boy look. The first thing to do is to cut the hair off the head. I get a lot of my dolls secondhand, and a lot of them have really sticky hair. It sometimes requires some washing and Goo Gone to make it workable. After that's done, I use acetone to clean off the face. Deuce has scales on his arm that needs to be removed. I was using non-acetone nail polish remover, but I did have to ultimately sand it off. Before I do the face-up, I want to do a reroot with some acrylic yarn. First of all, I take and divide several pieces into strands so I can get them in easier. Then I just use a rerooting tool to put them in the holes. I decided to brush the strands out to test how they would look before I continued. And no, I didn't decide to go with another color instead, why do you ask? One nice thing about rerooting with yarn is that they're often thick enough that you don't need to fill in every single hole to get a full coverage of hair. I get a bit more liberal with covering the top of the head as I go on. When I'm done, I use glue to seal it all in. Once I'm ready to start the face up, I spray the face with 3 layers of Mr. Super Clear. This time I use the pastels at a minimum before I start sketching in the face. My goal for this face up was to capture the cocky expression seen on the official artwork. I was kinda struggling with the eye color on this face-up. I have a light brown color, but I wanted to make it a bit more orangey to match the hair color as best as I could. I was also trying to add a few highlights with a small bit of white. For the rest of the face-up, I just focus on blending colors to render the face. I use white paint to add eye catches and some matte varnish on the pupils to finish the face. For this project, I'm going to use a Monster High Deuce Gorgon body and this DC superhero girl's head. Blue doesn't have a super manly face, so these DC heads work well for that anime boy look. To start working on the hair, I brush the yarn out and use a mini straightener to straighten it out. The styling is where the problem started happening. I was having a hard time keeping the hair spikes up the way they're supposed to, and furthermore, it kept showing the bald spots on the head, so I decided to cut the hair off and make a wig again. When I tried making new wefts, I ran out of the yarn I needed, and the worst part was that after this project was done, I realized in hindsight I could have just rooted some more yarn strands into the head. Fortunately, I had a similarly colored yarn available and made some more wefts. Then I made a fabric wig cap to glue the wefts onto. Then I used hot glue to glue the strands in a circular pattern along the cap. When there's a small spot on the top, I use the last weft and roll it up until it's big enough to cover the bald spot. Then I can glue it on to finish covering the cap. Afterwards, I can style the hair with scissors, an eyebrow trimmer, and hairspray. For the clothes, I draft a pattern for the shirt and pants and sew them off screen. Afterwards, I use a dotting tool and some paint to make the buttons. I also recycle the pattern for Red's bag to make one for Blue. Blue only has these sunglasses in the official art, but I thought I could still make a pair with some air-dried clay. For the shoes, I take these Monster High boy shoes and experiment with using epoxy clay to cover the details while leaving the back exposed to still be able to put them on. Unfortunately, that still didn't work, but I was lucky enough to have another pair that I could just repaint instead. Last thing I do is to make him a stand like I did with Red, and that completes the custom. There were a bit more road bumps than I was hoping, but I'm still relieved he turned out as well as he did. This is how it is in the games, but to me, it doesn't feel complete quite yet. But that will be for the third part of the summertime special. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe if you like. I have my Instagram like always, and I just opened a Twitter account recently for dolls and general art stuff if you're interested. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on my next video. Bye!